Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Dive Wagon. Today, we're going to talk about me and the Dive Wagon. But first, coffee. All right, there we are. So the Dive Wagon is a project now that I've been working on for about the last 2 years or so. And every year I think to myself that I should sit down, I should tell you who I am, I should tell you what the Dive Wagon is all about, what's the purpose, why am I making these videos. But every year comes and goes and I forget about making it and I never end up doing it. But this year, as I was making the Happy 2019 video where I was kind of telling you what my hopes and dreams were for this year, I thought, well, maybe this month, the first month of the year, I should also make the video where I explain to you a little bit about who I am and what's the point of all of this. So in case you don't know yet, or you've been skipping the first 10 seconds of all of my videos, my name is Kyle, and I'm located about an hour west of Toronto in a city called Kitchener, which, yes, if you look on a map, is completely landlocked and there's like no water hardly anywhere to be seen. But this isn't where it all started. So when I was a wee boy, my family moved to Venezuela. We lived there for about 7 years, and this is where I fell in love with the ocean and everything in it. We lived about an hour away from the Caribbean coast, and just off of the coast there were hundreds and hundreds of beautiful islands where I was introduced to snorkeling and the fish and just the whole beach and ocean life, and I completely fell in love with it. And then, when I was about 12 or so, my family then moved from Venezuela and we took a quick flight over to Colombia, where we moved and we lived there for about the next 5 years. And this is where diving came into the mix. And in 2008, my dad and I got certified by Mauricio from maodiving, based out of Bogota, Colombia. And I cannot recommend him and his services and his trips enough. He was a fantastic instructor. I'm gonna leave all of his information in the description below. So if you are in Colombia and you're looking to get certified, definitely check out Mauricio. Oh, and if you're wondering si puedo hablar español después de tantos años de vivir en Sudamérica, pues un poquito. De pronto uno de estos días filmaré unos videos para mi familia latina. So as many of you know, getting into diving can be a very slippery slope in terms of falling in love with it. And that's exactly what happened with me. And I was fortunate enough over the course of high school to be able to go on a few more dive trips. And I think by the time I hit graduation, I had maybe 50 plus or so dives, and I had achieved the level of master diver. And I could not be more excited. And after graduation, my family moved back to the Great White North. We ended up back in Kitchener, or just outside of Kitchener. And I didn't no clue what I wanted to do with my life, as probably most 18-year-olds now can understand. But I knew I loved diving and I wanted to do something with diving. So a quick Google search showed me the dive shops in the area, and I printed off a bunch of resumes and I went out with my mom, and we went out and dropped off resumes, and I was fortunate enough to land a job with Bruce Kingsbury from Groundhog Divers. And the fact that I got this job was mind-blowing to me because I knew very little about diving. Apart from what they teach you in the courses and stuff, and I knew nothing about sales, nothing about equipment really. But during this time, I was there for 8 years, I was soaking up so much information regarding sales, how to run a business, equipment service, different gear recommendations, and just gear maintenance and stuff like that, and all sorts of awesome skills. And during this time, I started to do a lot more cold water diving. So this was much different than what I was used to, and I slowly was getting into this, getting a dry suit, all of this type of stuff. And during that process, I also started dabbling in underwater videography and started to realize that I had a liking for it. So I kind of wanted to find a way that I could combine my passion and love for the underwater world and diving with my passion for videography. And as you know, Canada can get really cold in the winters, and you can't necessarily, well, you can if you really want to, but it's not ideal for someone who's not fond of cold weather to go and dive all the time. So during the winter, I thought, well, I have all of this dive knowledge and stuff that I've accumulated, and I have a camera and I like making videos, so let's find a way to combine the two of them. And that's where kind of the concept of this quick scuba tips came from. Something that I could do during the winter and make films about diving or videos about diving just kind of made sense. So as I was doing this kind of over the course of the first winter, it's kind of dawned on me that these are little tidbits of information that you would normally have to get in your car and drive down to your local dive shop and ask them how to change this particular thing out or rethread this BCD tank band or whatever. What would it look like to take as many aspects of a dive, as a physical brick and mortar dive shop, and essentially turn them, put them in the palm of your hand, making them mobile? And this is what brings me to the why and the stage 2. So there's a couple reasons why I thought this might be a good idea. The first of which obviously was I love diving, I love videography, and the mashing of the two just kind of made sense. The second reason was it comes to no surprise to any of us that the era we live in is changing, and a lot of us are searching for information online. Don't get me wrong, I value entirely, especially with specialty sports and specialty, kind of things, that one-on-one connection, that physical, going down, touching a product, talking to someone about it and getting that is very, very important. That being said though, the internet is also a very, very connection-based, social-based place, believe it or not. And I thought that this would be a way where, maybe you're at home, 9 o'clock at night, getting your gear together before a dive trip the next day, or you're going out diving early in the morning and your BCD tank strap is completely come undone and you have no clue what to do. And going down to the dive shop is not an option because they're not open and they won't be open tomorrow morning before you go out diving. And that is where I kind of wanted to come to the rescue, to be able to have that list, that resource online for you to go to solve your problems, to answer your questions, to inspire you, whatever the case may be, so that you can keep on diving and dive safely. So you can be on a dive site, you can be there on the boat. If your phone has, anywhere your phone has signal, I basically want you to be able to have that portable dive shop with you. And then this brings me to the final stage of the Dive Wagon. So if stage 1, the first stage, is this concept of taking as many concepts of a dive shop as possible and turning them into the palm of your hand, creating this kind of digital dive shop. Obviously, right now we're kind of in the infancy of that. If this is stage 1, we're maybe somewhere way down here. But stage 2, I would love, 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 love to take this one step further in terms of mobile. I would love to be able to take it on the road, to be able to have a vehicle similar to the Ford Focus or some big van or some vehicle to where I can drive around, we can dive, create videos about diving, and essentially pull up to a dive site, open the back doors, open the side door, and be able to provide as many aspects of a physical dive shop that you can out of the back of the vehicle. I just think that would be really, really cool to combine the diving, the educational aspect of it, offer, rentals, sales, coffee, whatever, but on wheels. And that's kind of where the concept of, the tagline, the Dive Wagon, it's your digital dive shop on wheels, and the web. Those are kind of the two goals that I'm trying to strive for. In the same time, the underlying goal, the underlying joy of it all is to take my passion for diving and my passion for videography, and hopefully through that be able to, educate you, answer some questions, create a space for socializing, as diving is a super social sport, and maybe inspire you to some degree or another. Now, obviously we're in the beginning stages of all of this. This is all super new and super exciting, and little by little we're getting there. You can check us out, obviously on YouTube is where we're kind of constantly uploading stuff. And I say we, but it's primarily just me. But this is where the Dive Wagon as a brand is. Facebook, you can check us out. Instagram, Twitter. I don't really use Twitter too much, but you can check us out there. And we do have a website now. I guess this is technically would be the unofficial announcement of us having a website. It's a baby website. It's not completely done, but you can check it out. But definitely YouTube would be right now where we're kind of posting most of our activity and our quick scuba tips and some of the other stuff. I've got some series coming up over the summer that will kind of tie this whole all these aspects of the dive shop together. And I'm curious, I'd be curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. I'd also love to hear if you have ideas or you want to collaborate on something. That would just be super cool. If you've got any questions about me, personal questions, or about the Dive Wagon in general, be sure to throw them in the comment section below, or send me an email. You can email us at thedivewagon@gmail.com. And there you have it, guys. A little bit about me, a little bit about the Dive Wagon. I hope that maybe answered some of your questions. I appreciate you guys for sticking through this video. Maybe it ended up being a little long, I'm not sure. But we'll see you next time, and happy diving. I didn't even drink any of this. Cheers.